I'm in the KOMU-8 Storm Patrol car right now, but today we're not talking about the weather. To demonstrate just how the body cameras work, Sergeant Camp pulled me over for a mock traffic stop. You can see he's asking me for my license and registration. According to Moberly Police spokeswoman Major Kenna Neese, she said she thinks he roamed Moberly for so long because he could always count on people to give him a little extra food. You need to change lanes as far away from that vehicle as safely possible.
A police sergeant who led a group representing Black St. Louis police officers is suspended. Darren Wilson, not the same Darren Wilson involved in the Michael Brown shooting, is on forced leave without pay. This is in connection with ongoing financial irregularities within the Ethical Society of Police, of which Wilson was the president.
The goal is simple, to get students to eat more of these, that is, more fruits and vegetables. But not everyone can agree on the best way to make that happen.
A current Supreme Court case could affect hundreds of thousands of Missourians.
The case, King versus Burwell, addresses health insurance subsidies under the president's health care law. KOMU-8's Melody Myers has more on how the case could affect Missourians.
What do you guys think about the fruits and vegetables here? They give it a thumbs up.
Schools in Missouri could soon be receiving more money. Find out the latest proposal that would be a boon for Missouri public schools.
Myers says his department chose this model of camera so officers could use it quickly and easily. To turn it on, all you do is flip it open. Reporting live from Fulton, Katie Moeller, KOMU-8 News.
Rodney Griffin is coming home, but it isn't the way his family and friends hoped for years that he would. I visited Centralia in Mexico today to talk with his sister-in-law and his friends from the Centralia VFW. They told me finding Griffin after all this time has been a bittersweet experience.
This is when he's in a Jeep in Vietnam.
Doris Griffin says she and her family have never given up hope that her brother-in-law, Rodney Griffin, would return from Vietnam.
It's been 45 years, and it's been a long time.
That long wait is over now. Griffin will return, but his homecoming brings mixed emotions.
I'm glad that we found out, because I always wondered what would happen if we'd all passed away and there wasn't anybody down the road.
Steve Gordon was part of the recovery operation that searched for Griffin after his helicopter went down in Cambodia.
Sad. I think it was more sad to me than happy, just because there was always a little hope that he would pop up and be mad at us because we didn't come to get him.
Doris Griffin says even after Rodney was officially declared deceased, she didn't want to believe it.
We never accepted it. Really, we wouldn't. I mean, they made it official, but we didn't accept it.
The town of Centralia certainly hasn't forgotten Rodney Griffin. In addition to naming this street we're on after him, they also have this memorial right here that has the day he went missing in action in 1970. Daryl Reeves, who grew up with Rodney Griffin, says it almost didn't feel real that Rodney was missing for so long.
I always thought he'd just come bouncing through the door someday, you know. Never has happened.
Gordon says Rodney's memory inspires the members of the Centralia VFW even now.
That's why, as a rule, most of us live every day pretty full.
Doris Griffin says that's the way Rodney would have wanted it. Rodney was awarded the Purple Heart for valor in combat, but sometimes an award just isn't enough.
We'd rather have Rodney instead of the medals.
The Centralia VFW is meeting tonight to discuss raising funds in Rodney Griffin's memory to help pay for a funeral when his remains return. He almost didn't survive, but today he's walking without any help. I visited Troy Frakes in Eldon, where he's been taking the long road to recovery, one step at a time.
Yeah, I've been wanting to.
Troy Frakes doesn't need the help of a walker or cane to get around anymore. But it's been a long road to walking unassisted since his accident last September. Frakes was investigating a possible stolen vehicle when he was hit by an oncoming car, a Chevy Silverado.
I was told that I was struck by a vehicle. It was pretty extensive, I guess, from everything that I was told. That's all I remember up to until I woke up about a month later. And I was told later on that they did not think that I was going to make it.
Frakes' accident is not an isolated one. MoDOT reported 9 people died in 2014 due to being hit by a vehicle on the job. Frakes survived, but getting released from the hospital was only the beginning of the healing process.
The right leg was pretty much shot.
After 90 minutes of therapy 3 days a week, Frakes can now walk unassisted.
I've come a very long way with the leg. I mean, it's doing great.
Occupational therapist Katie Kelly says Frakes still has mobility issues with his left arm.
So I want him doing things that he needs to be able to do in his daily life. Stacking cones looks like stacking cones, but it's, picking up a glass, taking a drink of water.
Kelly says after seeing what Frakes has endured, she always obeys the move over law.
Current Missouri move over law says if you see a stopped emergency vehicle, you need to change lanes as far away from that vehicle as safely possible. If you cannot safely change lanes, Missouri move over law requires you to slow down as much as possible while you move past that vehicle.
Retired Columbia police officer Rob Kiesling was also hit by a car that didn't move over while directing traffic years ago.
Unfortunately, the vehicle just kept coming at us and kept swerving over closer to us, and it actually caught my leg and flipped me up onto the hood of the car.
Kiesling says he returned to work in about a week. Frakes was not so lucky. He says one of the most difficult parts of his accident is the financial burden of being unemployable. He says he receives only about $200 a week in workers' compensation. That's because Frakes was working 2 jobs as a sheriff's deputy to make ends meet, part-time in Sheridan County and full-time in Carroll County. But Frakes says he didn't become a sheriff's deputy for the money.
You do it for the satisfaction of being able to help people.
Therapy may not always be easy, but Frakes says he'll do whatever it takes to get back to work and helping people. Katie Moeller, KOMU 8 News, Eldon.
Frakes says he may need up to 2 more additional surgeries on his arm to regain full mobility. The Carroll County Sheriff's Department started the Troy Frakes Fund, which we've put a link to on KOMU.com.
You want more?
There's no doubt Wilbur Bacon eats like a king at his new home.
He loves pasta, macaroni and cheese.
But he didn't always eat such gourmet meals. Wilbur Bacon roamed the town of Moberly for almost 3 months.
As you can see right now, pot-bellied pig Wilbur Bacon is enjoying his lunch of corn and grain. According to Moberly Police spokeswoman Major Kenna Neese, she said she thinks he roamed Moberly for so long because he could always count on people to give him a little extra food.
Oh yeah, saw it quite a few times, crossing the road, running in front of cars. That's the part that I didn't care for.
The first time Wilbur showed up at her farm, Kirkendall said he made it very clear he only stays where he wants to.
We got him in the dog pen, just the very small dog pen there. Give him a little corn, shut the gate, and he was out in probably 3 minutes. He went right underneath of it.
That didn't surprise Fred Latimer.
I was an old farm boy, so yeah, we've had pigs go on the run, and they tend to like to be free after they've had a taste of it.
Moberly Police said City Hall had received requests for permits from people wanting to shoot the pig during his days of freedom.
Why? I mean, what can he hurt? Maybe flowers or something like that.
Latimer says there's only one way to squelch Wilbur's wanderlust.
They'll keep looking for ways out. Just keep feeding him.
That's just what Kirkendall plans on doing. With videographer Justin Coyle, Katie Moeller, KOMU 8 News, Moberly.